Well, she said she's magical, mystical, a powerful wonder girl.
Well, there's no need to get decked out in plaid or pretend to like bagpipes to celebrate this year's Robbie Burns Day. While it was officially on Thursday, our next guest is going to tell us how we can celebrate all weekend long, or maybe it should be recover all weekend long. Yeah. Please welcome award-winning British comedian and cook George Egg to
Hello.
What She Said. Hello.
So for people who aren't familiar, what is Robbie Burns Day?
Robbie Burns Day is a celebration of it's the anniversary of the birth of Robbie Burns, who was around about 250 years ago, and it's a big celebration in Scotland. He was a poet, was a much sort of lauded poet and lyricist.
He wrote Auld Lang Syne.
He wrote Auld Lang Syne, which no one knows the lyrics of or what it means, but everyone sings it on New Year's Eve.
Drunkenly.
And so Burns Night is a celebration of him, and it's a big Scottish event where people drink a lot of whiskey and have a Burns Night supper, which usually consists of haggis and neeps and tatties and all these traditional
I know
Scottish
haggis.
foods.
I don't know the other. Leaps and tatties.
Neeps is short for turnips, which is basically swede, because swede and turnips, similar kind of thing.
And tatties?
Potatoes.
Oh.
Yeah, so mashed
I
swede,
actually
mashed-
like haggis.
Haggis is nice. When people describe what's in it, it doesn't sound
sounds gross,
very
yeah.
attractive, but yeah.
I really have to delve into this because, I mean, for those that don't know, you are known as the anarchist cook.
Yes.
You actually mix live cooking and stand-up comedy with power tools.
With basically anything that is unconventional in the kitchen. At the Doers Scotch Egg Club that I was doing on Thursday on Burns Night, I was doing a demonstration on how to cook in a hotel room.
Yes.
So
using irons,
kettle, trouser press, hairdryer, all the things that you would find that you would ordinarily think that's not for cooking with. I have worked out ways to make delicious food using those. Basically, I have sort of various different shows that I do that involve cooking with non-culinary items. So the one where I was banned from the kitchen, that was due to a health scare. My wife banned me from the kitchen. I went to the shed, and so in that show I'm cooking with power tools, with wallpaper strippers and blowtorches and hot air guns, make pasta with a paper shredder, that sort of thing.
Is this something you would recommend people not do?
No, this is
Without
something I would
supervision?
recommend. I would recommend. Oh, yeah, not without supervision, not without some considerable forethought.
Training.
But I'd recommend you do it. I mean, that's basically the show. It's about cooking, it's about food, and it's about comedy. But it's about being resourceful, about being imaginative and creative. And while I don't necessarily expect people to go into their sheds and start cooking with their power tools, or staying in a hotel room and cooking with the irons, it is about thinking outside the box and looking beyond your perceived parameters and coming up with something new.
So
I can imagine some terrible accidents.
Yeah, you can.
now you hosted, as you mentioned, the Doers Scotch Egg Club Snack and Dram Bar in Toronto on Thursday night, where you featured whiskey cocktails and the ultimate Scottish-Canadian snack mashup. Okay, I'm going to go here. Scotch eggs with ketchup chips and haggis poutine.
Yeah. So I designed the menu for the night as well, because I'm a cook as well as a stand-up. The brief was to come up with a load of recipes that use Dewar's whiskey and combine Canadian sort of classics like poutine and ingredients like maple syrup
And ketchup
so on.
chips.
And ketchup chips.
They are now a Canadian classic. I did not know.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And combining those with traditional Scottish foods. So we've got that. We've got an Aberdeen Angus beef Scotch egg with black pudding in it. And there's a little bit of the Dewar's whiskey in there as well, which is really tasty.
Just a little?
Just a little, well, not too much. You don't want it to overpower it.
Okay.
I mean, you can have another glass of it on the side as well, so it's fine. So you can get your quota. But and the haggis poutine, that I was really pleased with that. So that's
Haggis poutine.
How does that work?
Well, it's basically chips, fries with a haggis gravy. which is basically fried haggis with some onion and garlic in there, and it's reduced down with some stock and a bit of Dewar's whiskey in there too to get the notes of that. And that's combined with I'm not sure, I can't remember if we did it with cheese curds or with. There were two versions I came up, one with cheese curds and one with Scottish blue cheese instead of the traditional curds. And it works beautifully. A few chives on top of that. Oh, superb.
So let me ask you, in this cooking with tools and stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
there must have been some serious mishaps.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about one.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about one. I have to hear about one.
I think probably my biggest triumph and biggest sort of mishap was trying to make moule marinière in a hotel room kettle. So mussels, steamed mussels. So to do that, you need to, instead of putting water in the kettle, you put one of those little minibar bottles of white wine that you get
Right.
in the minibar. That goes into the kettle. Bring that up to the boil. Put the mussels in. You have to hold the kettle on and hold the lid closed at the same time to get the steam to open the mussels. So that's
Yeah.
that creates a bit of
Yeah.
danger. And then when they steam open, you put a little pot of cream in there, some parsley, shake it up into a bowl. And I did that in a hotel. The room stank afterwards of fish
shells,
and
yes.
burning. But
And burning.
and I actually had to go out and buy a replacement kettle
Yeah,
for the hotel room.
I like
to leave in there.
turning the iron upside down, resting them between books, and using the surface to make little mini pancakes.
Yeah. Well, that's one
How
of the
did you
recipes
not
we-
have
The stuff go in the
in the
hole.
vents?
Oh no, it goes in the holes.
It goes
Did you replace the iron?
Yeah, well, actually, I tell you what it tends to do with that is because the batter sets pretty quickly as soon as
Yeah.
it gets hot.
Yeah.
So you it doesn't actually go into the holes. You get a kind of
The
you
little
just
groove.
get quite an attractive pattern on the finished pancakes.
Have you ever set off alarms in the hotel rooms?
Yep.
Smoke alarms?
Yeah.
And what do they say when they find you? And what you're up to?
I explained and apologised, and I haven't been back to those hotels since.
It's always better to beg forgiveness than
Than
ask
permission,
For,
yeah.
ask for permission. Yes, I work on that theory as well. So now that you're helping get us through Robbie Burns' weekend,
Yeah.
what is next for you?
Well, when I get back to the UK, I'm touring my show, the DIY Chef Show, which is the one specifically about how to cook in a shed as opposed to a hotel room. I'll be touring that all around the UK. And hopefully at some point, maybe coming back over here, talking to the Montreal Just for Laughs Festival. So maybe
That's always a great,
maybe
it's a
something
great
will happen
show.
with that.
Maybe
But,
something will happen.
Yeah.
with that.
Maybe you can start offering classes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
no,
Well, I find people after the show, they'll come up. People certainly have people who came to see the first show and the hotel room show, and then came back for the shed one. Have said, "Oh, I've tried doing this, I've tried doing that," and people send me pictures on Instagram of things
People
they've tried cooking.
using their drill for peeling.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
I mean, I've used a blowtorch for creme brulee, but then
Yeah.
I got a fancy one specifically for the kitchen.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing. It is, as you say, a blowtorch is used quite commonly in the kitchen, but it's about looking at anything and going, well, why does that have to be used for that purpose, and why not try it out elsewhere? I mean, a hot air gun, like a heat with the sort of metal coil in it. Hot air gun is, for like doing scallops, it's absolutely perfect. It really is, because a blowtorch is a bit too fierce, so it would
Yes.
burn the outside.
Yeah,
too
that wouldn't be
quickly
good.
with a
No.
scallop. But you get the half shell, you put a knob of butter in there, put a scallop in, hot air gun, minute on each side, squeeze of lemon.
I think that the issue is just cleaning it again so you'll put it in your hair. The curling, what are we
Oh
talking
no,
about?
a hot air gun, like a sort of thing that you would get paint off with. Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
no,
going
but
in
you
your
could-
hair, Christine.
Because you were, I don't know why.
And
I
I've
thought
made
it was
a toasted sandwich with hair straighteners.
So
that
tell
works.
us what your website is so people can connect with you.
My website is anarchistcook.info. And it's got-
Anarchistcook.info. Well,
Yeah, and it's got all
good
the
luck, and I
tour
hope,
dates and everything.
I hope for your wife's sake your shed is still standing.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This is What She Said, and we'll be right back.
Well, she said.